Hello, pile number one, and welcome to your reading. It's been a while since I've done some reading, so I'm really excited to connect with you guys. We've got some new cards that we're going to be using on the channel today. I ordered them last week, and they finally arrived. So I was like, what perfect opportunity, especially with the eclipse coming up and the full moon in Scorpio at the time of recording. So this is a timeless reading, pile number one. Whenever you feel most drawn to this reading, or you feel guided, is when these messages are going to best resonate with you. So we're going to take a look at how it is that you're going to know that this reading is for you. Divine guides, guardians, universe energies in service of the highest good of all of those who have come to view pile number one. I welcome you into the space. I ask that you please okay, I'll finish the intentions, but I have messages coming through as I'm aligning to you guys. I welcome you into the space, and I ask that you please guide me with truth, clarity, wisdom, energy, and service of the highest and greatest good of all of those involved. Thank you so much, Divine. Truth. So what I heard was negativity. I heard interview. I heard star power as well. Some of you guys might be drawn to like star ancestries, or like the planet's astrology. I don't know why. I don't actually know what this is. Cosmology? Is that studies of the cosmos? I think you guys might be people who partake in that. I also just heard you guys are caretakers of the soul. So I think you guys are messengers. You might identify to be psychic, clairvoyant, intuitive. Some of you guys might also, I just heard some of you guys might also identify to be as witches, because I saw the moon symbol, alchemical symbol. So there's a lot of moon energy here. I think you guys have been very reflective on the subconscious mind of those around you, revealing subconscious or unconscious aspects of self to the conscious self. Does that make sense? And also the conscious world around you. So it's like you're learning about yourself, gaining in wisdom, gaining in knowledge, and then going out and sharing that with the world around you. So I feel like there's a big highlight around communications for you guys. Some of you could be, I want to say, scribes, messengers, writers, storytellers, life lesson givers. I think some of you guys could also record like some forms of prophecy through the study of cosmology. I don't know, is that even a thing? If it's not cosmology, it's astrology. I don't know. Some of you, yeah, I just keep hearing star ancestry. Some of you guys might actually have telepathic communications with interdimensional beings. Okay, that sounds super like out the woo-woo, but what I mean is interdimensional beings that don't exist within the third dimension and exist beyond the third, but don't have material formation in this realm. Does that make sense? So that they're a consciousness that is true and that is existing, but they just aren't existing in this realm. You can't see it through through this light spectrum. Okay, so yeah, some of you guys have been downloading a lot of intuitive information from your star ancestors. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. How will pile number one know that this reading is for them? Please, guides, guardians, universe, energies, and service of the highest and greatest good. How will they know that this reading is for them? So yeah, we have the nature card come out here. What this is telling me is that you guys, how you know that this reading is for you is because you are the type of person who is much more interested in the truths that lay beyond the surface, or the truths that lay dormant, that people overlook, underestimate, undervalue. And you guys are also the people who want to kind of bring truth to situations where there is a lot of confusion. You take interest in the nature of people around you, and also the nature that is reflected outside of you. I think you guys are very good at almost prophesizing social trends or movements as well, directions. We have the weaver. Interesting. Sorry guys, 2 seconds. You guys are also a pathfinder, so you like to help people to understand themselves. We also have the sage coming out here. So yeah, you guys are teachers, you guys are mentors, you guys are people who have higher education, higher knowledge, or higher understanding about a certain subject, about your craft, or you have mastery or are coming into mastery over your practice and over your understanding. We also have this come out here. So yeah, you guys are very, very spiritual. You have a very strong awareness of self and understanding of intuition. People would call you sacred people. You know what I'm saying? Sacred people of your people. You've done a lot of soul work. You've come very far. You've done a lot of transformation, and you're a paradox. You're a paradox because you understand that there is no one without the other. It's more like you guys have a very strong understanding of polarity and duality and how these two things work together and coincide as one. You can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying? And you embrace this within yourself. So you're very, very, very aware of your dark or your shadow aspects and also your light aspects of what we would refer to them as today. Back in the day, I'd probably say, or in more simple terms, you guys have a very strong mastery over yourself, your self-discipline. You understand your where it is that you might be influenced by the world outside of you. You understand how you can use your inner resources, the truth of your character, the strengths that you are as well, to then influence the world outside of you. You guys are very clear within your intentions, and you know what it is that you want, not just for yourself but people outside of you. I think you guys have a very strong connection with I want to say, actually, quite funny enough, it's a form of angels within the hierarchy of what we're taught today. It's the angels. They look like atom. They look like a wheel that spins, and they can move in any direction without really rotating. They connect and communicate with you telepathically, so you might hear certain voices within your head, but that might sound a little bit crazy, but what I mean here is it's like you get inspired words come to mind, and this is your intuition. It's your clairaudience. I think your guides around you like to communicate with a lot of you through your clairaudience, which is the ability to hear things that exist beyond this realm's senses. Okay, awesome. So if you guys resonate with that, this reading is going to be for you. We're going to take a look at how it is that the seraphim would describe you in your world to the people around you, the role it is that you play in your world. Who is my pile number ones, please, divine? Seraphim. Now, if you're not sure, the seraphim are a collective of beings that work in the totality of love in service of the highest and greatest creator, the only greatest creator that there is, the Great Spirit. And whatever and however you recognize Great Spirit is uniquely your own. No one can tell you that how it is you perceive the creator is wrong. There is no wrong when it comes to this, because the creator is in everything, otherwise creation would not be. So how it is that you experience creator is totally unique to you, and this is where we get the underworld card. Now, I feel like your creator has probably sent you out interesting. Your creator has sent you out to be a medium bridge for this world. We have the sustainer come out here as well. Now, I think you have a lot of people who come and go throughout your life, and I also think throughout your life you've identified to see things out of your peripheral visions. I don't know, because I just got a tugging on my eye. It was really weird, and it's the left eye. So I think you've seen a lot of hidden demons within people. I think you've seen a lot of hidden influences, conditions, programming, and you're the type of person who likes to bring this to the conscious mind, to highlight these things, to go and delve deeper into these things and reveal truth and knowledge from these things. And this is how the divine or the seraphim like to describe you. You are someone who does not shy away from the darker, harsher truths of this world, and you find and You find and receive great power from these things. You transform and alchemize energy or negativity. You help people to see things from a different perspective, through a different lens, and you help people to navigate their lives much more efficiently, much more effectively, and much less stressed. In a much less stressed way, in a much more appreciative way, where they can experience the goodness of their life. So yeah, you help to catalyze people into transformation, into understanding themselves and their higher connections, their higher source. You help to unnarrow the mind, as described by the divine here. We have transmutation come out of this deck, so that's clarifying the mystic. Yeah, you guys use your intuitive and psychic awarenesses or understandings to then assist people outside of you to transmute negative energies, to help bring light to dark places, to dark people, to misunderstandings and confusions. You help to sustain the innocence of those outside of you as well, because once again, you help to teach people that there is always a lesson in everything, even in what we might first perceive to be as bad. And especially, I feel as though you are teachers of mastering the mind as well. You help to teach people that perception is reality in this circumstance, and I think you have the ability to help educate people in controlling their perception, or reclaiming empowerment over their perception, and that's how the divine would describe you. Okay, so we have the comic. You guys are very friendly. You like to add humor into situations, I would say. I also think you see and take time to listen and gather everything. I think you're the types of people who pay attention to the fine details of things, and bring light to that within other people. You help people to see value from a much deeper perspective, and this is what I feel as though the divine says you have come to do. You've come to help people to understand themselves more, to make their lives better, to encourage people, to support people. I think you guys are motivational speakers. I think you guys have a huge vast range of knowledge, and I think you guys also work with the negative aspects of people. Or you might find throughout your life you had attracted a lot of low vibrational people who were really broken, people who really found value and comfort and safety within your presence. And I think you have guided these people throughout your life, whether you did this consciously or not. You give very good advice, very good support, and for this you should be very proud of yourself. Now, a lot of people in the community say that being proud is a negative thing because it comes from ego, and if that's your perspective, I can respect that. However, being proud and having pride, to me, are two different things. Being proud is allowing yourself to feel accomplished. Being prideful is allowing your accomplishments to define you and become you. So you set that as your image, when in the totality of yourself you're much deeper. And I don't need to explain these things to you. I'm very sure you are well aware. But for those of you who might not be, it is necessary throughout our lives to appreciate the good things that we have about ourselves, that we have developed within ourselves. It's important that we reflect on ourselves and see how far we've come, see what we have overcome, see what we have created, and seen what we have left behind. These sorts of things is what allow us to gain perspective. This is what helps us to see what it is that we are doing that is efficient, that is optimal, that is positive, that is healthy for ourselves. And this also helps us to see what we are not proud of, what we don't want to pursue, what we've stayed committed to that hasn't been good for us. And these things too. This is the soul work. And I think you help support people through these things. And I think a lot of you, without a problem, but I feel like you're the types of people who are like, I can help all these other people with all of their problems, but then when it comes to myself, I struggle, and I feel like I'm always doing it alone. There is purpose behind this, there is strength behind this, and there is leadership to this. There will be a time in your future where you'll look back and you'll be like, I'm so glad I went through all of that. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have created and achieved what I have, say, 6 years down the line from now. And I think you guys already do this. You've already reflected back and felt re-energized from certain reminiscing on like certain things, certain ways of being, certain memories, certain feelings. And sometimes when you do these things, it might make you feel a little bit like you're grieving the past, but the whole idea of this is to use this to motivate you to recreate this for yourself in a more sustainable way for your future. The reminder is there so that you don't lose desire for that, because if there's an undercurrent desire that never burns out, there is a purpose for that. And usually that purpose is that thing is meant to be in your life, on your life journey, in your life path, and that's why you have a yearning for it, so that you do go after it. And I think you also help to teach other people this outside of you. I think you guys are very, very masterful over the solar plexus also. You guys are very creative, you're very sensual, you're very expressive, you're very, very deep. You have a lot of passion to bring to this world around you. And I think you've got a lot of emotional intelligence. You understand passion, intensity, you understand relationships, you understand creative force, and how divine or how sacred creation is. Is there any additional messages, please, divine, on how it is that you would describe my pile number ones, please? I think you guys are very self-reflective, very deep, very, I don't know what other word to use. You're very, very immersed within the subconscious mind, and it makes people feel very, very distant from you, because of how evolved you are within your self-awareness, within your intelligence, how ascended you have become. You know what I'm saying here? Yeah, that's the only way I can word it. So you guys are very hard workers, and I think you do a lot of work not just for yourself but for others. You're very, very social, and people, or maybe it's not that you are social actually, perhaps you are very magnetic to people outside of you because of the knowledge and the experiences and the life lessons it is that you have underneath your wing. You draw these people in because they can sense from you wisdom. You're like a modern day guru, you know, or a modern day mentor. Okay, so I think you guys are also crusaders. You guys came to tear down or burn down a certain, oh shit, okay, you guys have come to recorrect corrupted religion, recorrect corrupted politics, mindsets, practices, belief systems. There's something that you are very, very passionate about that you see as very, very explosive or harmful or destructive outside of you, and you see it in the working class, you see it in everyday life, everyday community. It's the system. You came to break the system. Your life lesson is power, the true poison of power, and you teach this people outside of you, to people outside of you. Like, this is something that you are very masterful in. Your faith is in mystics, I feel, and I think you have been very sacrificial in the past. And I don't mean sacrificial as in self-sacrificing. I mean you have sacrificed a lot of personal connection, a lot of relatability with people, a lot of acceptance to people outside of you. You've probably felt a lot of alienation outside of you, and this is how the divine is describing you to me. But there was purpose to this. This was purposeful. This helped you to see the collective in a much different way, and it's going to help you to guide the collective in a much more effective and much more efficient and much more meaningful way that will last. And I don't know, yeah, you're helping to rebuke possession within the collective, curses, dark magic, You have the energy of a sage, so you naturally rebuke negative energy because you transmute it. You see negative energy as a service and as a lesson rather than a punishment or a capturer, you know. And this is a very strong strength of yours that will come in. Yeah, you help to free people from imprisonment with the trauma being here. Wow. You guys might also help to cross spirits over. And quite literally, when I say that, it might mean that you helped cross over the dead through mediumship, but this could be like dark spirits within the people, within the living. I also think you guys have come to recorrect corrupt religion. We have hysteria with insanity. You've helped to change the collective movements moving forward. You guys have come here with very big life purpose, very strong conviction, and a lot of ancestral support. And that is what the divine wants to say to you today. I could keep going on forever, but we're already 20 minutes in, so those are the messages I have for you today, pile number 1. Thank you so very much for stopping by. If you would like to hear more about this sort of reading in the future, please be sure to leave a like or a comment and let me know, and I'll be sure to maybe revisit this pick a card topic in a month from now. But with all that being said, I hope you did enjoy this, and until next time, bye guys. Hello, pile number 2, and welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a while since I uploaded and connected with you guys, so I was really excited to jump on and be able to do this right before the full moon in Scorpio at the time of recording, and the solar eclipse coming up, I believe. Don't quote me on that though. So we have some new decks that I'm going to be using here today. I ordered them last week and they finally arrived, so I was like, perfect, it's going to work out good. So guys, I'm just going to align to your energy. I think you guys would benefit from either slowing down your racing mind, or 2, practicing a mindful breathing. You want to breathe from your diaphragm, not through the lungs, not through the throat. So if you're unsure of how, or if you are breathing into your diaphragm, pop your hands like into a triangle like this, and then put it at the pit of your tummy. When you're breathing, you should feel your tummy expand and your shoulders shouldn't raise. If you're breathing and your shoulders are raising, you're breathing into your lungs. That's not filling your being. You want to try to aim to breathe through the diaphragm. This will fill you with more vitality, and it will calm your system and also allow your body to relax. Even though you don't subconsciously, you are programming the body to relax. Consciously, you might be thinking that it's a waste of time, but it's really not. It's an effect that is more for the system and the nervous system than what it is for the thought. The thought takes discipline. For those of you who needed that message, yeah, I struggle with that myself quite a lot. Because I'm someone who does so many different things at once. I like to think of like 12 different things at once, and this is when I'm just operating through my everyday life. So I get lost in the astral realm quite often, and it's important for me to ground myself a lot, and the best way to do that by starting to connect with the self is through mindful breathing. It helps to bring yourself present, and it helps to bring yourself focused, and it helps to silence the mind because it's all you're focused on is breathing. And this helps to just recenter and zero the self out a little, you know. Okay, pile number 2, let's go ahead and take a look, see at what it is or how it is that you will identify with this reading being for you. Guides, guardians, universe, energies in service of the highest and greatest good of those who have come to you. Pile number 2. I welcome you into this space, and I ask that you please guide me with truth, clarity, wisdom, sincerity. That's interesting. I haven't had that invocation for a while. I think you guys have had to take a lot of risks recently, and I think you've had a lot of people revealing themselves to you, and it might be a little freaky for you. I just heard. Um, I just want you to know you're much more loved than what you might initially realize. I think you've seen through a lot of false personas, and a lot of people have been revealing their true colors, or like revealing their true identity, their authenticity. And this doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but for those of you that I am being guided to talk to at the moment, I think you guys have had to carry some heavy emotional baggage. I think you have been through a lot. I think you had definitely been through the ringer. Because I'm hearing a song. It's Billie Eilish and Khaled. Lovely. Isn't it lovely? Oh, oh, glass, my mind is stone. Tear me to pieces, skin and bone. Hello, welcome. So I think you are identifying with a very, very heavy life lesson. For some time, I think you might have. Now, please, this might not be you. If this is not you personally, this is people that you have helped outside of you. These are channel messages that are coming through initially before the read. Please take what resonates and leave behind what does not for the next viewer. But I feel as though some of you had been placing someone else outside of you on top of a pedestal, and you had been working to satisfy other people. It was like, I don't want to say people pleasing behaviors, but it was more like you wanted to feel accepted. And I think you're coming into the truth of oneself, that you're not seeking outside validation, you're seeking validation of self through others outside of you, because you might have been subconsciously moving through a cycle of being like, if enough people outside of me accept me, I will then feel comfortable enough to accept myself. And I feel like this is not a sort of mindset that would be best optimal, best beneficial for you. And I don't think this is the way that you operate always. I think this is just something that you might have emotionally felt dragged into. If you've been struggling to relate with someone outside of you, this is what they are going through. They are a paradox, and they're learning I think they rejected or refused to take accountability for quite some time. And if this is not them, this is you. Could be that you two are mirroring each other. For those of you who have been going through relationship problems, for those of you who have been doing soul work and going through ascension processes, or wanting to better yourself, wanting to better your environment, your life, your work life, the whatnots and blue blahs, I think you would find more benefit in retreating, withdrawing, resting, and reflecting. There's something to do with your sensuality and your creativity that you will learn to work with better. I don't know how else to word that. Funny, because the reflection card just came out. I guess I don't know how to word it, because it's going to be personal for each of you, depending on what it is that you are desiring at this time and what it is that you are working on. So it will be personal to you, which I can't reveal. It will be something that you work on within yourself. Your instincts, your emotions, your thoughts, your desires, your ambitions, your intentions, and you're going to bring all these things together, and that's what helps you to manifest the desired outcome of what you are seeking. Okay, how is pile number one going to know that this reading is for them before we describe to them how it is that a seraphim views them? Thank you. How will they know that this reading is for them? So we have the withdrawal card come out, and we also have the surrendering card. With the withdrawal, there's a fox here. And with the surrendering card, we have an eye and we have a wreath. I think that's what they're called. Now, the wreaths are very symbolic. So is the third eye. So are foxes. With the withdrawal card being here, this is talking about you withdrawing to take time out to learn your life lessons from the experiences that you have found yourself in. And that is the purpose of surrender. This is your greatest tool right now. If you surrender to acceptance of what is, what has been, what you have contributed to, and what has come to be, you will find full empowerment come to you instantly. Radical acceptance is one of the most simplest, most powerful forms of personal authority. It's one of the most powerful forms of magic, in a way. I'm speaking in metaphors. Please allow me to explain there. When you have radical acceptance, you are in totality. You are in totality. I call it totality because it means flow. Everything is in flow. Everything is how it should be, and that's why it is the way that it is. Everything has to come into a balance after a huge ripple effect of vibrations, of shifts, of frequencies, of free will. Everything has to come into balance for something to actually come to manifest, to actually come to be. And for all of that to be understood, you need to come into alignment, which can only be reached through self-reflection. It can only be reached through self-acceptance, understanding of self in self's world, then understanding self's world and how it affects the collective. And this is the purpose of working on self to then understand the world outside of you, because how can you know the quality of what you are offering your world if you are not totally mindful of what it is that you're bringing? Does that make sense? And I don't know why that's important, but it's a message that will become a tool for you over the next, I just saw 50 days in particular, it's a 50-day cycle, which is not really that long. It's about just under 2 months. Sorry, 2 seconds. Okay, so if that resonates with you and you found like that is something that has been applicable to your past, this reading is going to be for you. We're going to take a look at how it is that the seraphim would describe you in your world, within yourself and within your heart. So now, if for those of you who might not be sure, the seraphim are beings that live in totality of love and service of the highest and greatest creator, the only creator. Now, how it is that you perceive the creator is going to be totally unique to you. Nobody in this world can tell you that your creator is wrong, because the creator is in everything. Otherwise, creation wouldn't be. I like to explain it this way, because for those who know me quite well, I'm someone who is in acceptance of all forms of belief. The reason why I'm in acceptance of all forms of belief is because there are all these forms of beliefs. That's why people believe them. It's the people that give power to these things. And if the people didn't have it, then I would say there's no point in me investing energy into being open to these things, because it wouldn't exist within the collective during the time that matters, which is the present. So this is why I feel as though it is much more powerful in being open to all forms of expression of source within all of source creations. And source is in everything. That is why creation is surrounding us. And that is why we have the power to recreate, which is why source is in us. The Great Spirit is everything. And I don't know why it's important for me to explain this to you. Maybe I don't need to explain it to you. Maybe this is a concept and an understanding that you have, that you teach to other people outside of you. This might be a consciousness that you operate through each and every day. For others of you, this is a confirmation of a deep knowing and understanding that you've had. So if you have been like suspicious of this knowing, or you've always had this knowing and you've always said this knowing, but no one's ever validated you, Spirit are wanting to do that. So we have the Take the Risk card being here. The Divine would describe you as someone who has the inner resources to go after what it is that they set their mind to. You're not someone to hold yourself back from a good thing. You're not someone to hold other people back from where you know they naturally shine. You want to encourage and inspire the best within people, and I think you are people who would be described as someone who has very pure and innocent intentions towards others. However, some people misunderstood you in the past because you might not have always been totally committed to things that you had delved into or indulged in or participated in or connected with, and then people made misjudgments of you that I think you might have left and carried with you for some time. And I think you might have judged yourself a little bit too harshly. So if that message there resonates with you, pile number 2, I would just encourage you to work on letting that go, because I mean, once again, perception is reality, and if that is the perception of yourself, that is the standard that you are almost forcing on yourself, and you will always feel weighed down around this almost relationship that you're sharing with yourself due to the way you see yourself. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I don't really know how other way to explain that to make that make sense if it doesn't. I guess those who that is for will get what I'm saying. I also feel as though the divine is, I just heard that they're expressing that you are someone who is an adventurer into the depths of reality. I think you don't rule anything out as impossibility, and I think you are the type of person who is open to collecting all forms of proof or like facts. You're someone who is very, very like logical. You're very much grounded. You might even like hiking. You might like mountain climbing or something, hiking, bushwalking. I saw a forest, a cliff, and I also saw a stick and a big backpack. So some of you also might enjoy spending time in nature. You might, I just saw bird watchers as well. Some of you can read bird signals really well, and it helps to warn you of things. I think if you are someone who is going out hiking over the next 40 days in particular, pile number 2, please be aware of the bird signals. They're talking to you. They're a spirit guide for you guys. They're an animal guide. It doesn't really matter the particular type of bird. It's more so the signals that they're communicating with you. For example, if you're it's like, I don't know, if it's 11 o'clock at night and you're out camping in a tent and then a whole flock of birds just magically leave their perching spaces, probably because there's danger. And if it's approaching you, I would probably encourage you to listen to the signs and signals around you. That doesn't have to necessarily apply to the birds. It could be a metaphor. It's more like if there are repeating signs and synchronicities or obvious signs and signals or red flags outside of you over the next 30 days, pile number 3, the seraphim are saying pay attention to them, because it's them communicating with you clearly outside of yourself. Not there's not many things that are a coincidence. I'm not going to rule it out as an impossibility, because I'm someone who likes to keep healthy skepticism, which I feel as though you are too. But I would definitely say the things that cannot be logically explained still need to be analysed or observed, pile number 2. And I think you are someone who is really reasonable in this sort of mindset, and this is the way you operate every single day, and I think that's the way Seraphim are wanting me to understand you. You're very claircognizant. You probably download information without prior education, without prior knowledge or influence as well, and it's like you clearly understand things through just embracing all forms of fact of reality. You know what I'm saying, of the reality that is around you within the present. You're someone who is very immersed in the now times as well. Like if people needed a reality check, I feel as though they would almost come to you. Yeah, they would come to you for advice, creative solutions, resolutions, ideas, inspiration. You are probably someone that a lot of people look up to around you, pile number 2. And I also feel like you've probably had to protect yourself and create a lot of boundaries with people outside of you too. And I think this is because you are someone who has become very successful within whatever it is that you do. I don't know what that is in particular, I'm sorry. It's probably because it's unique to all of you. But there's a lot of benefits that comes with knowing you, pile number 2. And I don't know what those benefits might be. It might be resources, connections, loyalty. It could be anything. And I think you have had to really learn how to protect the benefits that come with your connection, because the true value of the connection is they get you, not what you can provide, not what you can do, not what you can bring. And I think you've been weeding out these sorts of people because you're learning the quality of company and discerning that. And I think you're very good at doing that within other people outside of you as well. I think you guys have a very strong judge of character, and I think you're very good at sensing out motives or hidden agendas. So you might also have clairsentience, which is the ability to sense out the emotions, the mindset, the internal operations of what people don't want to talk about. Say, for example, if you go into a room and before you entered that room you were completely happy, joyful, laughing, couldn't have a care in the world. You walk into a room where there is a particular person that you know is quite negative, and you look at them, and then all of a sudden darkness just drops on you, heaviness just drops on you and weighs you down, and you're like, wow, that just killed the mood. No, your mood didn't get killed. Your energy got dulled and drained instantly by the vacuum. I'm going to say a vacuum, because that's what it looks like to me in energy right now through the picture that I'm being shown. And I understand it's metaphoric, but yeah, they're like a vacuum. They just drain you. They suck you in. They take everything from you: the joy, the happiness, the laughter. Those sorts of people, I feel as though you're weeding out, or you're needing to, and you've been knowing this, you've felt the calling, but I don't know, for some reason you just, I don't know, some of you might not have been, you might have not felt ready. Take this as a sign of encouragement. For others of you who don't resonate with that, you encourage this within other people outside of you. You have very strong discernment and judgment and character, and you understand certain subconscious projections that seep through people's characters, that reveal deeper truths about people, that might suggest something different to what they pose themselves to be. And you're very good at picking these things out, you know. Okay, so how would the divine describe my pile number 2s, please, Seraphim? We have the rise of a civilization, a developer, and an organization. So the Seraphim, I feel as though, would describe you as someone who might be quite idealistic, and that's how people would say it. I think that might come across a little bit triggering for some of you. For those of you who find that triggering, the reason why you find it triggering is because you don't see it as idealism. You see it as a quite real possibility that can be achieved, but there are people who have too many egoic blocks outside of you to make that a possibility during this time, this age, this era. And that's why some people would say that it's idealism, even though your visions, your understandings are very achievable. It's the maturity of this age, pile number 2. You guys are very old souls. You come from a much more unionized time and era, space and time, a much more connected time. For others of you, you guys are planners of change, transformation. You guys are catalysts. You create a lot of shocking change to people outside of you. I think a lot of you guys are very unpredictable to the world around you, and this is what gives you the shock factor. 2 moments. As soon as people feel as though they've gotten to know you, pile number 2, it's like you bring something new to the table that people didn't expect, and it shocks people. Your trauma in this life was oppression and suppression, I want to say. With this card being here, Wisdom Keeper, there's things on the back here. This doesn't apply to the front, but the way that it came out was like this, and at the bottom it says wounded healer. So what I want to say to you is that you guys' trauma in your lifetime, you have suffered with a lot of oppression from the past. I would say a lot of suppression, a lot of people outside of you who wanted to trap you in, and probably some of you probably identify with people outside of you who wanted to enable your like wickedness, your badness. They encouraged the not so good sides of you, And yeah, I feel like you have had to kind of develop your life away from this type of living. You've had to rise out of a sort of life that you knew you didn't want, even though you were kind of contributing to it by wanting to save the people who willingly partake in that life. And I know that you did it out of having a huge heart and knowing that everyone is capable of having better, but those people have got to want better for themselves. And right now, the people that you have probably tried to save, pile number 2, don't, they are not ready. They've got to want it for themselves, and that's when they know that they're ready. You know, and until then, all you can do is set a positive example by doing what you know is best for you. That will then empower the best version of yourself. And when you are your best version, of course you're going to be your best for everyone else around you if your intentions are pure. And this is the way that you inspire and you lead people without force, because inspiration never comes with force. It never has to. It touches the heart first. So yeah, the divine saying, because of your past and how much you've overcome, how much you've suffered with, how much you've been boxed in, you've had to go through a lot of personal, I would say, disasters that were really harsh, hurtful, heavy, and at times felt very like imprisoning. But you overcame all of that and you've gained a lot of wisdom, which means you have probably come to help other people become healed. You know what I'm saying? I want to say that you're also probably someone who, I want to say that you guys are probably subconsciously also fighting a war. Perhaps you guys have been at like a spiritual war for quite a long time, or you help assist other people who are facing things like psychic attacks or like spiritual attacks, or you just stick up for people who appear to be less empowered than you. But I think you found yourself in an opposite way to how your character truly is in a situation that you've probably held on to for a little while. For those of you who are resonating with this, what would you like to say to them, please? For this person or people in particular about this message. Work through your feelings. And the other one says take inspired action. 2 seconds. I think you already know what you need to do to solve the discomfort that you're feeling around whatever it is that is weighing on you, whether it's guilt, regret, grief, sadness, or whether you have a yearning for something. Your situation has been almost like a shocking check for yourself, you know what I'm saying? And as a result, you've been forced to accept certain feelings that you have not wanted to feel for quite some time, and perhaps someone outside of you catalyzed these things for you, but you might have I don't know, rejected these things and taken it out on a person in an unfair way, and you're being encouraged to take an action towards them and do what you know you need to do. Yeah, be humble, it says. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that because it's not a collective message, basically. So sorry, but for those of you who needed to hear that. Okay. So, how would the seraphim describe pile number 2 and the world around them? One more. Ooh. You're very attractive at this time and over the next 40 days, pile number 2, to people outside of you, because you're going to be feeling good about yourself, because you start taking actions to correct the emotions that aren't sitting well with you. And you're becoming more true to yourself about that, which is helping you to make positive action towards resolving these things. So we have the card Embrace the Flow of Life. We have Unleash Your Kindest Self, and we have Find Balance. So some of you might have recently been helping other people outside of you, situations, or yourself, to move through and ascend or transcend disharmony, chaos, and discord. I just heard it's a cycle. It's a cycle that you have been going through for quite some time. We have group living. So this was, oh, and we have imprisonment. 2 seconds, guys. Alternative sexuality. Uh-oh. Teacher. Okay. I'm not going to go into depth because I think I know who this is for. I just got a flash of a face. If there has been a fallout with someone that you saw as a teacher or a mentor or a master, someone that you were very, very intimate with at some point, and you want to fix things, you might have to leave your current living situation and make sure you know what you are wanting to commit to. Once you know what you are wanting to commit to, you can become goal orientated and stay focused on a particular outcome, and things won't be wavering for you with a certain particular person outside of you. For others of you, the divine is saying that you are someone who tries to operate and express yourself through your best version of self, the best ways that you know how. You try to create balance for yourself and people outside of you, connection, equality, balance, harmony, love, beauty, art, talent, appreciation, and gratitude is very, very important to you. And this is the way people in your world see you, pile number 2. People see you as prioritizing these things and usually wanting to make these things happen. You are someone who likes to be in balance, but when you are not in balance, I don't know, things go pretty south pretty quick. I would say you guys are very strong within your manifestation abilities. So the best thing that you can do is go with the flow of life and make the best out of what is presented to you. And I think this is the way that the world sees you outside of you as well. They see you as someone who has been through a lot, has overcome a lot, and has made the best out of what it is that they have, and has turned out to be a really great person, a really amazing person, someone who has become much more than people would have ever imagined of you. You have probably even become a new version of yourself that you wouldn't have imagined yourself to be, and you have gone through some of the harshest lessons in life that life could have thrown at you. There's a popular saying that people say that God doesn't throw anything at you that God knows that you can't handle. And take that as you will if it resonates with you. But I heard it. So we have trust card here. And we have ascension. You can trust the process of what you are going through right now, pile number 2. If you guys have been leaving a certain particular way of being, a lifestyle, a commitment, if you're leaving anything behind right now and walking away, just know that you're walking into a higher, a better quality of life by achieving a higher perspective. You guys have been manifesting the best possible outcome for yourself by making positive choices. So the more positivity or the best self that you can bring to your everyday choices, your everyday commitments, your everyday movements and opportunities, the more you are going to most likely manifest the best possible outcome for yourself. Yeah, we just had the manifestation card and self-love. You got to do what's right for you, pile number 2, and you really inspire people outside of you to manifest this for themselves. We have the sovereign. Peace is going to come to you in the very near future is what the divine want to tell you right now, pile number 2. And we have the outlaw. Even though you feel as though you've had to do things alone recently, just know that this is for a